Are you a druid main that can relate to this picture? Have you been forced into going with a bear build even though you want to have a werewolf build? Are you tired of hearing your friends and other people say how they got 4 Tempest roars before level 60? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you're in luck, because today we're going to be talking about the best way to target farm the Tempest roar. But before we get into the video, if you guys are struggling to level up and you don't seem to have enough time to get to level 100, or maybe you don't have enough gold to re-roll your item for the 53rd time, either way, if you guys go over and check out mitchcactus.com, he will be able to provide you with all of the services you may need. It should also be noted that this is one of the most trustworthy websites for getting your Diablo 4 services in gold, with over 8,500 reviews and averaging a 4.8 out of 5 stars. You can definitely have the confidence that your order will be completed safely and securely. But with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. So the first thing I want to talk about is what you should be actually farming for any unique in the game. If you want to target farm anything, you should always be farming nightmare dungeons. This is pretty much common knowledge at this point. However, if you guys are not familiar, upon completing a nightmare dungeon, you are going to be rewarded with guaranteed legendaries, and these legendaries have a chance to be unique items. And that's why doing nightmare dungeons is great. It's better loot, higher drop chances, and overall those guaranteed legendaries at the end with a chance of being unique is very, very beneficial. But now we're going to kind of filter down which ones are going to be the best for target farming the Tempest Roar. So for this helmet specifically, it could be dropped by either cultists or cannibals. If you guys are not familiar, in Diablo 4 there are specific mob families that have a much higher chance of dropping certain unique weapons. And like I said before, for the Tempest Roar, it's cultists and cannibal. So what you want to do is find the nightmare dungeons that have the highest density of either cultists or cannibals. And in this video, I'm going to be providing you with the 2 best nightmare dungeons that you should be farming for the Tempest Roar. And the second one, number 2, the second best option, is the Charnel House Nightmare Dungeon. This one is really, really good. It has an incredibly high density of cannibals and even cannibal elites. Because there's so many elites, they have a good chance of dropping a legendary, which could be unique, which could be your Tempest Roar. I would say the only thing that holds this back from being number 1 is the fact that there is no boss at the end of it. And I'll get into exactly why that's important in a minute, but first we are going to talk about the number 1 best nightmare dungeon that you can farm. And this one is called Faceless Shrine. And the reason this one is so good is because it not only has cannibals, but it also has cultists. There's tons of them, there's lots of elites. The density isn't that great, but there is a boss at the end. And Diablo recently did an update where the boss drops a guaranteed legendary item. So what this means, because the boss for Faceless Shrine is a cultist boss, and because it's a cultist boss and it also drops a guaranteed legendary, that means that if that legendary happens to be a unique item, there is essentially a 1 in 4 chance that that unique item will be the Tempest Roar. And because of that, this is definitely without a doubt the best way of farming for the Tempest Roar if you can get the keys. Right now, to my knowledge, there are no effective ways of resetting dungeons while also completing them, and because of that, if you run out of these keys, the next best things to farm would be just Uldur's Cave or Sereth's Lair. Sereth's Lair because it could be done very, very quickly, and if you can continuously farm this dungeon over and over and over again, you will be getting those guaranteed drops from finishing it, and therefore it makes it pretty solid. And Uldur's is pretty self-explanatory. It is probably one of the highest density in terms of loot in the entire game, so you're going to be getting tons of loot, easily an entire inventory full of loot every single run, and therefore it makes it a pretty solid option just off of the sheer amount of loot that you will be getting. But that's pretty much it for today's video, so if this video helped you out, make sure to drop a like and a sub to the channel. It would help me out a lot, and I would really, really appreciate it. But that's pretty much it for me today, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.